Hi, okay. It's nice to chat with you, even though I guess you're not really here chatting with me. But thank you so much for your patience. It's been a crazy couple weeks here. All right. I have just loaded in some of your pictures that you sent me. They are coming in as JPEG, so they're not the RAWs, which makes it a little more difficult to edit, but I'm gonna do my best. I love this image. Um, I have not played with it yet, so I'm literally gonna let you see my process of what I would walk through here. I do really actually already like that one, but reset. I'm gonna edit with some of my VSCO presets, which I use most often. To start, it's a little bit underexposed than I would typically go, so I would maybe brighten it just a smidge. And then I would probably go with an Afgha preset. That would be great. If you notice, the white of her eyes is actually quite blue, which leads me to believe the whole thing is a little cool. You could even take this dropper and do that, but actually that did it pretty great. It is a little more orange now than I'd like, so I would probably just come down to these sliders, make sure you're on saturation, and then I would probably just do that. Bring down the orange, you see? Obviously you don't want to bring it down that far, but maybe bring it down just a smidge. We started here and now we're here, and that looks much more like a skin tone that I like. And then from here, I would use my adjustment brush. I'd get exposure. I'd be about here. I would probably brighten up her eyes just a smidge to make them really, really pop here. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you're on a Mac, you can hit O and you can see where you've done it. You just hit O on the keyboard, O, and then O again to make it go away. I use that just so I can see what I've done. That's a little too fake looking, so I'll bring it down just a smidgen, maybe about there. That's great. And then depending on how real you want it to be, you could use this brush to clone out some of the food. It looks like breakfast on baby girl's face. And then that would probably be where I would leave it. Um, you could get that as well as the little sleepies. But again, not necessary if you want it very real. Um, and then for black and white here, I might kind of do something a little more, contrasty. So reset. If I'm just doing it by hand, I do this. I bring up the temp so that my white balance is where I wanted it. I'd go here to black and white. I would bump my contrast. I would bump my clarity. I'd bring down my highlights here. I might make a couple points to give it a little bit of a matte. That's too much. Bring my highlights down a little more. And I kind of love that. And then sometimes when I have a black and white, I use my clarity brush, I bump it all the way up. And if I'm looking for a lot of texture, I sometimes just rub my clarity on these things just to make it a little more interesting, a little more textured. I don't do it on the skin, but I will do it on hair, especially with my daughters. This jacket has some great texture, so I would definitely hook that up with a lot. And that would be probably where I leave it. I kind of love it. Okay, moving on. This is very cute. I thought I like the composition of this. um, Probably what I would do here is use one of my Viscos. This is my Pack 5 Visco. I would likely use my Afka again. I'm a huge Afka fan. I love that already. I don't love vibrant greens like that, so I would come down to this, my HSL panel, bring down my green saturation. If the grass is often too yellow, I'll bring that down, but you don't want to lose the yellow from her hair, so you kind of want to, it's a fine line. You can then do the hue and do a different shade of green. I kind of like doing it around there. Luminance, you can mess with that as well if you want it darker. I kind of do like it darker there. And then that's probably where I would leave that. Let's move on to this one, which I'm in love with. Okay, so I would once again go to Abisco. Looks amazing already. You did a great job straight out of camera. If you've noticed here, the the focus should be very sharp on this eye, the closest eye to your camera. It's not perfectly sharp. So again, that's probably your lens. Or it could have been that he was moving very quickly. He looks, I'm not sure if it's a baby boy or a baby girl. The last one I thought it was a baby girl. This one I think it's a baby boy. I don't know. Everybody gets confused with my daughter as well. Either way, adorable. So baby, here, I would probably leave it at that, though you could start messing with the blacks. I really love how he's kind of in the shadows here. A lot of the time though, when I'm looking for my really muted tones, which I do with my newborn photography, I like to bring my contrast down. I just bring it down so that it's nice and not too vibrant, but for a picture like this that has all these bright colors around him, I like the contrast there. Okay, let's see what else we could do. See, so this photograph is again a little bit soft. You really want the focus to be on her eye or right on her head very crisply. It's probably a lens thing. All right, let's do this one. Let's go straight to black and white for this one. Again, this one is very out of focus. The key here would really be if you had a nice crisp focus, the lighting would be great. He's just, out of focus. So I cannot recommend the 50mm 1.8 lens enough for you. It will make a world of difference. Back button focusing. So if you have your camera set to back button focus, you're gonna click his eye. It's gonna be a red dot. You're gonna lock the focus in. You're gonna hold down the shutter. The shutter, you literally just hit it. It's not like when you're using your shutter to focus that it takes a little longer. Back button focus, you lock your focus, you hit your shutter, and it's solid, it's great. And your focus is going to be very sharp. So I cannot recommend a good lens and back button focusing more to you. Your composition is great. You really have an eye. It's just nailing down those key bits. See, I mean, look at how great these will look on your work. Black and white. Yeah, so let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to send this over to you now. Have a great one.